You're watching a video which is an awareness program for two conditions called leukemia and lymphoma. These are both blood cancers, and the decision for making September the month of leukemia lymphoma awareness was taken by the US Congress in 2010, and I feel it's a very welcome decision. Both these two conditions are prevalent in the community, and if we can improve the awareness of these two conditions so that patients can come to us in time, get diagnosed in time, and get treated well, is, I think, the main purpose of this video. We are going to first talk about lymphomas. The question asked to me commonly is, what is lymphoma? Lymphoma is a cancerous disorder of our immune fighting cells, which are called lymphocytes. Oma is a swelling. So whenever these lymphocytes accumulate and cause a swelling, especially in our lymph nodes or glands as they're commonly called, then this is called as a lymphoma. Now the glands can enlarge for various conditions, but the diagnosis of lymphoma is only made when a patient, either a male or a female, has persistent glands enlargement. They are not painful, because painful ones are usually associated with infection. They are not painful, and they're gradually increasing or rapidly increasing. Now, those conditions are the ones that we are interested in finding out whether there is an underlying lymphoma. How do we diagnose lymphoma, and what's the age for getting lymphoma? There is no specific age. Any age, right from pediatrics to the elderly, can develop lymphoma because it is a cancerous disorder, lymphocytes, which are there in every age group. Now, how is the diagnosis made? So for those patients who got fever, weight loss, too much sweating at night, where the clothes get wet, itching on the body, presence of these glands or lymph nodes in their neck, in their armpits, or in their groin, or when they've got this persistent fever which is not going off despite taking treatment, then we know that the chance of this being lymphoma is higher. And we diagnose this by doing a biopsy. There are two types of biopsies. One is an excision biopsy, where we remove the whole lymph node, and that's what we would want, because then we can actually do a lot of investigations on that lymph node which are biopsied to get a proper diagnosis. And I'm going to tell you why. The second one is that the lymph nodes are too deep inside, maybe in the stomach, abdomen. Then we do a CT guided biopsy, where we do multiple core biopsies through the radiology department and send those for analysis. And many times we achieve a very good diagnosis, including in these CT guided biopsies. The reason why we want a full lymph node or a biopsy is because today lymphoma is divided into two: non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and Hodgkin's lymphoma. Essentially, both these two come under lymphoma, but their behaviors are different. And therefore, it's imperative that with appropriate testing in the laboratory of that lymph node, we differentiate these two so that we treat the patient correctly. Now, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is further subclassified into low grade, intermediate grade, and high grade. And there are 4 subtypes of the Hodgkin's. I'm not going to go into technical details, but I want to impress upon you that in today's world, making this differentiation is very important. It is only through this that we can treat the patient correct. On the other hand, in terms of treatment, before we start treatment, we go through a process which is called as performance staging or performance assessment. In this, we look at how fit is the patient, and we see what is the staging of this disease. Fitness comes from seeing how are the other organs of the body working, because I'm going to give some treatment called chemotherapy. Is he or she fit for the same? Are there already any organ damages which will worsen with my treatment? So that's called fitness or assessment of the performance. The other part is the staging. For staging, we see where all is this disease. That is done today in lymphoma by a test called PET CT scan of the whole body, where a dye is injected into the body and it gets trapped in all the areas which are diseased and refuses to come out of that when you scan the patient. If it's on one place, 2 places, both sides of diaphragm, or involvement of organs or bone marrow, we call it stage 1, 2, 3, 4. Not that our treatment is going to change, but our outcomes change. Higher the disease, lesser is the outcome. But if the system or the disease is chemosensitive, then the patient will still do well. So a stage 4 disease is not last stage. It is stage 4 disease which is still amenable to treatment and will still get responses upwards of 40 to 50% today. And with today's therapy, including if patients have inadequate response, we've got very good salvage regimens. Once we make a diagnosis, we see the fitness, and we have done a staging, we embark on a combination treatment called chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is short for chemical therapy, where we inject chemicals into the body which find their way into these areas, which are the lymph nodes or organs, wherever there is disease, and try to break down this disease. It is the chemosensitivity of the patient which determines how well the patient is going to do. So the protocols that we use are standard all over the world, but once administered into the patient's body, how well it will work in the patient depends upon the patient's immune system and the patient's ability to take the treatment or tolerate it. The number of cycles varies. A lesser disease might take lesser treatment, but on an average, certain types of lymphoma, such as diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, which is a type of intermediate to high-grade lymphoma, will need 6 cycles of treatment. And there's good Indian data that if we complete 6 cycles of chemotherapy, we will do well. These are combination chemotherapies. Today, we are adding an immunotherapy to the chemotherapy, and therefore, this is called immunochemotherapy in today's world, with excellent responses. Lesser the stage, better the response is what I said. Lesser the stage, now we know there's data that lesser treatment also is possible with some amount of local radiotherapy based on certain criteria. So science is changing for the better and becoming more patient-friendly. On the other side, Hodgkin's lymphoma has 4 subtypes, but usually the treatment is a standard combination of 4 injections, 4 chemicals, which are given every 15 days, about 4 to 12 times depending upon how much is the disease process or how much is the staging. So the chemotherapy of Hodgkin's is different from that of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Hence my earlier statement that it's very important to do an excision biopsy to prove the diagnosis correctly. Once the patient has been treated, then in non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, we repeat the PET-CT scan at the end of 6 cycles of treatment to see how well we have done. In Hodgkin's lymphoma, we do the PET-CT scan after 2 cycles of treatment. It is called interim PET-CT or PET-2, which tells me, am I responding well? If the patient is responding well, then we continue the same line of treatment. If not, we change protocol. So in Hodgkin's lymphoma, we are using a lot of PET-CTs to determine how well we are doing and whether we need to change the treatment. But in non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, we are doing it just for staging and then at the end of the treatment to see how well we have done. Is there any residual disease? If so, should we give more chemo? Should we give radiotherapy? Or should we use a salvage protocol? Now, whether there's residual disease or relapse, there is salvage available both for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and for Hodgkin's lymphoma. An important question is, do all non-Hodgkin's lymphoma patients need treatment? And do all Hodgkin's lymphoma need treatment? So non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, if it's a low-grade variety, especially some called as follicular lymphoma or marginal zone lymphoma, we can still manage to observe the patient unless there are type B symptoms, which I told you are fever, weight loss, and night sweats, or an increasing size of the spleen or liver, or increasing lymph nodes. These are then going to be the reasons to treat the patient. But in a diffuse large cell lymphoma or a high-grade lymphoma, we do not observe. We give the patient treatment immediately. Again, to highlight that it is so important to have a proper lymph node diagnosis so that we don't undertreat some and overtreat some patients of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. In Hodgkin's lymphoma, what we have noticed is that irrespective whether the stage is 1 or stage 4, we will treat the patient immediately because Hodgkin's response is brilliant. And the young people who got chemosensitive disease do extremely well. And Hodgkin's is one condition where we can actually open our mouth and say that we can cure patients who come to us in the early stage of the disease, especially stage which is less than 2A or it's actually 1A. Today, we've got lots of other treatments available both for Hodgkin's lymphoma and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So the armamentarium is huge. The issue is, will the patient can come to us in time so that we can make a difference to that patient's diagnosis and life early and have a treatment which will show much better response than waiting for the disease to become advanced. The second disease that we're going to talk about is leukemia. Leukemia is also a blood cancer. It arises from the bone marrow. And after arising from the bone marrow, it is seen in the blood vessels. And when we take a blood sample, that's how we diagnose a leukemia. There are 3 types of leukemia which are commonly seen in terms of the disease pathophysiology: acute leukemia, chronic leukemia, and mixed leukemia. The acute leukemia is the one where it is further divided as lymphatic myeloid, or it is again mixed lineage. The lymphatic leukemia is further divided into 3 subtypes. The myeloid leukemia is divided into 8 subtypes. On the other hand, if you go to the chronic leukemias, the chronic leukemias are chronic lymphatic leukemia and chronic myeloid leukemia, and there's a third one called as chronic myeloproliferative neoplasm. So in acute we've got 3, in chronic we've got 3, so we've got 6 diseases which come under the heading of leukemia. Hence again, it's absolutely imperative that we make a proper diagnosis. The diagnosis of leukemia can be made from the peripheral blood by looking at a stained smear under the microscope, but the details will be known once you do something called as flow cytometry, which is a brilliant test done in a machine to find out if the cells are cancerous or non-cancerous. We can also do a bone marrow examination to confirm and prove our diagnosis, and do additional tests called cytogenetics, which tells us why did this patient develop this problem in the first place. We don't have such a similar test for lymphoma. In lymphoma, we usually do a bone marrow just to find out the staging process. But sometimes, and soon in the future, we'll have genetic testing also for lymphomas, just like in leukemias, to make a more robust diagnosis and aid us even in management. In terms of acute lymphatic leukemia or myeloid leukemia or mixed lineage leukemia, the chemotherapy is the standard of care. It is given as different protocols. Acute myeloid leukemia is given over a period of 6 months. But if there's a transplant needed for bad genetics, then we do the transplant after 2 cycles of chemotherapy. Typically, an acute myeloid leukemia needs 4 cycles of chemotherapy. Acute lymphatic leukemia needs almost 2.5 years of treatment with chemotherapy in sequential form. While acute mixed lineage is the worst form, it has to be treated with chemotherapy followed by transplantation. The chronic leukemias, especially the CLL, need not be treated immediately. We wait for symptomatology, and it is again diagnosed by flow cytometry on the peripheral blood. And the chronic myeloid leukemia is again diagnosed on the peripheral blood by a special test called FISH test for BCR-ABL, and that needs to be treated immediately. Why? Because CML, when you diagnose and you treat with tyrosine kinase inhibitors, their life survival is as much as that of a normal patient, normal person in the community, if they are chemosensitive, if they've been picked up early. So such awareness programs should also tell you that if there is a patient who has persistent fever, night sweats, weight loss, has a high WBC count, unlike lymphoma, there are not much of lymph nodes, but a high white cell count. They come with dropping hemoglobin. They come with dropping platelet counts. They are unwell. They look frail, and they look really sick in front of us. You know that this patient is more likely to have a blood disease like leukemia rather than lymphoma. Although lymphoma can also involve the bone marrow and cause leukemic phase. Hence again, specialized tests are very important. So if you've got a patient or a person who is unwell for a while, not responding in terms of antibiotics to the fever, losing weight, developing glands, getting spots on the body, getting bleeding from the nose, mouth, or urine, these could be signs and symptoms of leukemia. And since we've got so many different types, we need to properly assess it by a proper test on the blood plus minus bone marrow examination to confirm the same. Overall, from this video, what I want to impress upon you is that even in leukemia, just like in lymphoma, we've got many advances, and therefore, if the patient comes to us in time, we are able to treat it far better. My take-home message for you is that if you've got someone whom you know who's got symptoms which are persistent and the patient not doing well, then you must take medical help. And by taking a medical help, proper investigations done will ascertain the diagnosis and give an opportunity to treat the patient at an earlier phase. And this can make a lot of difference to the outcomes and to the life of the patients. With science advancing so much, we've got so many opportunities. Let's not miss those opportunities to take care of our patients and our community. I thank you very much for listening to this video, and my best wishes to you.